You are now listening to the Flaming Melon podcast, featuring your hosts, the Watermelon Boys, Lucas Beaudois and Patrick Riley. Fasten your seatbelts and enjoy the ride. And make sure to look both ways at the stop sign because the Watermelon Boys and affiliate networks will not be held liable for any accidents caused by this pod. Thank you.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Flaming Melon podcast. We are the Watermelon Boys. My name is Lucas, here with my co-host Patrick. Say hello, Patrick.
Hello.
We are happy to be broadcasting to you, not live. How was discing, Patrick?
It was magical, actually.
Disc golfing.
Yes, I did. It was a lot of uphill, a lot of walking on weird angles on my ankles. That kind of had a weird. That sounded a little weird the way I just explained it. Weird angles on my ankles. Uncles, maybe there were some uncles involved.
Was this the same spot that I've played with you, or did you go to a different one?
This was different. This was actually in Battle Creek, a place called Arboretum. There's actually it's a cool spot. It's a big public park that's really well taken care of, and there's also a sculpture park that's attached to it too. Yeah,
that sounds pretty sweet.
Yeah, a lot of cool local sculptures.
Nice. Well, anyways, this is our first episode of the Flaming Melon podcast, and why the fuck are we doing this? Is my question.
Yeah, so the way that I look at it is we've been friends since third grade, and there's been moments in our lives where we've been like, I wish that we could go back to some of the conversations we've had. And this is kind of, in my opinion, this is kind of our way of logging that. So it's not just for, we hope that you enjoy listening to this, but at the same time, if you don't,
we're doing it for us.
Yeah. So you can just stop listening right now.
Yes.
Please tune out of this.
Tune out if you hate me or Patrick.
Or even if you like us. Yeah, please.
No, if you like us, tune in. But
okay.
Anyways,
that's fine.
A little bit about us for those who don't know us, even though I believe our first listeners are going to be knowing who we are already. A little bit about our magic backgrounds. I started doing magic in third grade, so it's been almost 17 years now, and I specialize in primarily close-up card magic. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do, Patrick?
Yeah, so Lucas and I pretty much started right around the same exact time in third grade, and that's the same year we met. And although we both started at the same time, we both went pretty different paths. At least in the long term, we both kind of found our style. I more so do comedy mind reading on stage.
Yeah, very different styles, but we think in very similar ways in terms of how we approach magic.
Definitely.
And I don't even remember exactly how we got started at the same time. I think we were talking about this the other day, and I think we kind of got started separately and found out that we both did it pretty early on. I can't even remember.
Yeah, no, I was thinking about that on after we discussed it, I put some more thought into it, and I was really trying to pinpoint did one of us did I see you do something, and then I'm pretty sure that we both started on our own. I don't know how we learned that each other were interested, but anyways, that interest that we both shared made it so that way we got even more into it, since we're not a lot of people know this, magicians, at least at that age, aren't the coolest people.
No.
But having somebody in it that has the same interest as you, it makes it a lot easier to stick with it. That's for sure.
For sure. Yeah, I think there's a good chance neither of us would have kept with it if we didn't have each other to bounce off of.
Definitely.
Just with the amount of people that, looking at it from an outside angle, would bully us over it. Yeah. So definitely helped. Who are some of your favorite magicians?
So some of my favorite magicians, this is a hard question. Right off the bat, I would say David Blaine, just because some of my first memories of magicians include him and his like late 90s TV specials, maybe some early 2000s too. So that definitely in terms of public figures in magic, he's probably at the top for me. But at the same time, there's I really could name a ton of people, but Peter Turner definitely shaped the way that I view mind reading and that type of thing. Then my friend Fraser Parker really helped mentor me when I was new into mentalism. Like some of his material was the first that I had ever really learned from, as well as Colin. I guess he goes by Colin Cloud now. He toured with like The Illusionist, the Broadway act.
Yes.
That's just a couple. I could go on forever, but how about you, Lucas?
Yeah, I mean, I could also go on forever with the amount of guys that I enjoy watching. My initial guy that inspired me was David Copperfield, actually.
Oh, okay.
I was big into watching him when I started in 3rd grade. But the guys who I really admire now, Paul Harris is the easy one that comes to mind for my favorite magician. In terms of my style of close-up magic, most of it's heavily inspired by him, and a lot of the stuff that I do is of his creation. So yeah, I love Paul Harris, love David Blaine, Derek Delgadio, big Penn and Teller fans.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the list goes on. Penn and Teller have especially molded the way that I think about a lot of stuff in magic over the last probably 3-4 years. Just endless people that I could name. But Paul Harris comes to mind first.
But if anybody listening is interested in some of the magicians and maybe seeing what they have done, Lucas named Derek Delgadio. He actually has a special on Hulu called In and of Itself that we both would, I'm sure, recommend anybody in magic or not to see, because it's a beautiful piece of art.
Yes, it's not even, there's magic in it, but it feels weird to call it a magic show because it's really not. It's a lot more than that.
Right.
So it's I think it's an hour and a half long. It's best if you go into it with no disruptions. Just know that you'll have the time, put your phone away and watch it all the way through. And it's pretty amazing.
Right. It's not something you would just watch. It's not something you would watch while like eating food.
You don't just put it on. Yeah. You don't just put it on when you're cooking or something.
Right.
You want to really be zoned into this thing as if you were in the theater.
Because if you didn't do that, you could come away.
You probably wouldn't get it.
Right. You could dislike it, not understand it.
For sure.
It really requires your attention.
Absolutely. Yeah. But anyways, let's break down this first episode a little bit. So just to give you an overview, we're going to talk. I got a few magic stories to tell. And then we're going to introduce our weekly segment here, or I guess the segment we're going to do every podcast. I don't know if this thing's going to be weekly yet, but we're going to be doing some entertainment reviews. You want to explain to us what those are going to be like?
Yeah, so really it's going to vary from week to week. We will have some consistent topics that we touch on through this, but it's really going to be different pieces of performance content in different performance art forms, not just magic, but you will see a lot of us reviewing both good and bad magic specifically.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah, mostly magic, but can definitely extend to movies and comedy and anything really.
Personally, I really am looking forward to the bad magic. The bad magic is my favorite.
Yes. And that's actually what we will be starting with on our first episode. We're going to be reviewing Season 1, Episode 1 of Criss Angel, Mindfreak.
Boom.
So get ready for that. And then to wrap up the show, we're going to do a little bit of trivia.
Oh, yes.
Why don't you give us the rundown of the trivia, Patrick?
Yeah, so with the trivia, Lucas is kicking this off with preparing some trivia questions for me, but pretty much every other podcast, we're going to go back and forth. So next podcast, I'll be preparing some questions for Lucas. And so after 10 episodes, so I should also mention 2 points per question if you get the answer right, and it's multiple choice questions. I believe 5 5 questions?
Five per episode. Yep.
Okay. So 5 questions per episode. And then at the end of the 10 episode string, we're going to compare the points. Whoever has more points, this is the good part here. Whoever wins gets to pick and create and script a piece of magic that has to be filmed by the loser. Something that's probably going to be that will definitely be very embarrassing, and something that that the loser will, I keep saying you because I know you're going to lose, but
fuck you.
Thank you. So the loser is going to have to upload this routine that the winner has complete control over for the masses to see, and we're definitely going to promote the shit out of it. So everybody gets to see it.
I think that'll be fun. Yeah, so after 10 episodes, we will have each answered 25 questions, 50 points on the line. And it's quite the tantalizing prize, because as much as I would hate to do a shitty magic trick that you come up with and script, I would also love to make you do one. So,
well, all I have to
that
say,
should be fun.
All I have to say, Lucas, is I hope you like the taste and feel of maraschino cherries all over you.
And I hope you like being topless with a pound of salt.
You know what? You might want to change it, because I think I would actually enjoy that.
All right. Well, maybe live scorpions instead.
Okay. Quick maraschino cherry fact, actually, since everybody's wondering. Quick maraschino cherry fact. We got, I don't know how many people know this, but if I can educate one person about maraschino cherries, it's worth the time, money, and years spent crying in the basement. So the maraschino cherries, the one, maybe I'll do this weekly. Maybe I'll give you a maraschino cherry fact every week, but at least this week's maraschino cherry fact, and the only one that I know currently, maraschino cherries are cherries, right? There's no contesting that, right?
Correct. That I would agree that they are a cherry.
Right. They are a cherry. I don't know who this maraschino guy is, but what this maraschino guy does is they take the color out of the cherry by bleaching it, literally bleaching it. I don't know what solutions they use, but they bleach the color out of it, and then that way when they house it with this red, mysterious solution, it takes on that color, that dye, making it bright red.
Seems totally unnecessary, but that is a great fact.
Yeah, it really when I learned that, I don't know, it was probably just a couple years ago, but when I learned that, it really showed me that the world was a very untrustworthy place.
It's amazing the amount of foods that have coloring that doesn't change the product at all. And it's, I would assume, just all for marketing purposes and making the product more attractive.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous how much there is out there.
Right. Marketing, right. And how much is it so excessive and probably
it's
not
especially
great.
Frustrating. Yeah. And something especially frustrating. I'm still fairly new to being vegan. It's been about 1.5 years now, maybe just under.
Right.
Some dyes used in food are not vegan, and the food would be the same without the dye. It would just be a different color. But there are certain dyes that they put in food to colorize that are made from animal products.
So playing this back,
which is just crazy.
So what you're telling me is these foods would otherwise be vegan.
Correct.
Interesting.
If not for the coloring. Yes, a lot of candies have stuff like that, which is bizarre. But
wow,
that's enough about
maraschino.
Segment of the week.
Well, I would have to disagree with that. I think that there could always be some more knowledge being spent on the maraschino cherry front.
Maybe we sprinkle in a little more before the episode ends.
Okay, I can come up with something, I'm sure.
Okay.
Oh.
Well, anyways.
Actually,
go ahead.
Let me mention this, because I don't think we mentioned this yet. We actually have a sponsor as well. So you will hear an ad read at some point during the show. Please stick around for that, because that is how we keep the lights on around here.
Yes, definitely.
All right.
Definitely.
What are we talking
Well,
about first?
I think we're ready to get into a few magic stories. I've got a couple.
Oh yeah, you've had quite
over the weekend.
Yeah, you've had a busy weekend, haven't you?
It was a good magic week. Had a couple of shows one in New York, one in Orlando, and then I went and visited a magic theater out here in Palm Springs, California, which was where I'm currently residing. But
you know what? Let's talk about the first show first. How did that go?
Well, the first show was unfortunately canceled the day of due to a few people getting COVID that were going to be in attendance.
That's rough.
So that was a bummer. Hopefully they recover without too much hassle. So I flew out to New York, took a day to fly out there, and then ended up just spending a day in New York. Caught a few movies, saw an early screening of Licorice Pizza, and then went to the world famous Tannins and bought a few books there. So
yeah, iconic magic shop, the most iconic magic shop maybe in the country, definitely in New York.
Oldest in America, I think.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, great spot. So then the next day I flew down to Orlando and had a show for a golf tournament. They were having a dinner on Friday evening that they hired me for to do a little walk around, and I did a little stand-up bit at the front.
Yeah. How did that go?
So that went very well. There was a funny moment kind of in the middle of the show. So this gentleman who hired me is a member at the club that I work at in New Jersey. And so he saw me doing some magic over the summer and decided to come have me work his event down in Orlando for the winter, where he spends his time in the off season. And he does a lot for the Arnold Palmer Hospital down in that area. Donates a lot of money, does a lot of fundraising. Very generous guy. And during the evening, he had a bunch of checks. And I don't know what they were for. I don't know if they were like prizes for some of the golf that had already been played. I would imagine that they were going to be donations for the hospital or something. I would imagine that these checks were for charity.
Sure.
So he had those on like a clipboard or something, and he set them down somewhere. And I was doing magic. I was walking around hitting some tables, and he comes up to a table that I'm doing magic at, and he asks like, "Hey, has anyone seen that envelope of checks? I can't find it."
Oh no.
And initially the table thought that he was joking, like he came up to the table with the magician. He thinks the magician made them disappear.
I'm sure you've gotten stuff like that before.
Yeah, they didn't think he was being serious.
Yeah.
And he was like, "No, I'm serious. We lost all these checks." And it's like, I mean, I don't know if I want to say the amount. It's a lot of money. It is a lot of money that he cannot find right now. So he's looking around for all these checks and stuff, and you could tell he's pretty stressed out about it, and maybe an hour goes by and we still haven't found it. 45 minutes to an hour goes by and the checks still haven't been found. And now we're in this indoor part of the party, this very big like bar area, and they're going to play some videos to like thank this gentleman for putting on the event and thank everything that he does for the hospitals and all this other stuff. And you can tell during watching all this video, he's like honored to be watching all of this, but he's also like still worried about the checks.
Yeah, right.
And during this segment of the night, one of the organizers pulls me aside and says, "Hey, we found the checks. Do you mind helping me make them appear?"
That's crazy. I love that. Okay.
Which I get stuff like that all the time, but this guy was clearly stressed out about not being able to find
understandable
mass amount of money.
Yeah.
And I was thinking like, I don't know if it's the best idea if I just make them appear.
Right. And then the initial thought is going to be, all right, why did you, the entertainer, steal these checks?
Yeah, it's just like, oh, this guy did fucking take them.
Yeah, right.
So I think if this guy that pulled me aside wanted me to like physically make the checks appear in my own hands or something like that, I don't think I would have done that.
Yeah.
But he said, I'm going to put them in my coat pocket. Can you just like, I'm going to make an announcement to the room for everyone to like check their pockets. And then can you just like butt in and say, hold on, I'm a magician. And then like do something and make him appear in my pocket.
Hold on. I think I may have the solution.
And I still didn't really want to do this.
Understandable.
But I was just like, yeah, it's okay. I'll do it. I don't, this guy who hired me is a very nice guy. I don't think he'll think anything.
Right. You just scream. All of a sudden you scream Yahtzee, and then just the checks suddenly just start appearing out of the thin air.
Right. Yeah. They just fall from the ceiling. But yeah, so he started to say to the room, he gave like a little speech, thanking the host and a couple other things about the event. And then he says, and also we're missing the checks for tonight. If everyone can like look around, maybe check your pockets, maybe it got misplaced. And then so I butt in and say, hold on, I think I can fix this. And I took a deck of cards and just riffled it at his coat and made him appear, and all was good.
So are you telling me that you snuck them in the pocket of the guy?
No, he put him in there.
Oh, I get it. Yeah. And then it was just,
No.
could you see the relief on his face?
Yes. Yes.
So
very much.
I'm curious, were the checks taken from him on purpose to play this trick on him?
I have no idea. I have no clue.
Because it seems like an event like that would definitely be well organized to a point where they're definitely keeping track of everything like that.
Yeah, no one there is gonna like steal them either.
That's true.
So it seems weird. But also, if they were gonna plan on doing that in the beginning, like they didn't tell me until like right before. It seems like they would want me to be in on it way earlier too.
If it was actually planned ahead.
Right. They're like, oh, we're gonna take the checks and make the magician make him appear.
Right.
They would probably bring me in earlier, and I probably would have been able to come up with a better production of them. Not that I would have wanted to do that. But yeah, it's one thing to make like a $20 bill disappear and reappear somewhere else. It's another thing to make several checks totaling up to more money than my net worth make disappear and reappear.
Right. That's a lot of responsibility.
It's a little different.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So that was interesting. But the show was very good. Great crowd.
So then you
fun time.
You jet lag yourself back to California.
Back to California the next morning. And there is a magic theater by the name of Marvin's that is 10 minutes from my house here. And they opened up, I believe, right before the pandemic hit. So they were shut down pretty much the whole time I was here last year. So I didn't get to check it out.
Okay.
And this year they're back open for the season. And the guy who runs it is Jeff Hopson. And his wife, Yvonne. And they're both Michiganders as well, from Detroit.
Yes.
So I got put in contact with them through a couple of people. My boss at the golf course put me in contact with Jeff, and then a few members that I had performed for reached out to Yvonne, and he invited me out for an evening to come check out the theater and see some magic and maybe talk a little bit about what I do and where I want to go with the magic. And it was a great time. Really awesome theater. You walk in and you got this check-in area with this bookshelf of great magic books behind the counter there where they check you in for the shows.
Oh, that's cool.
And once they check you in, you stand next to this garage door and they check you in, and this garage door just like lifts up really quickly, and you're exposed to this beautiful bar area that's just like lit in an amazing way, and like there's this beautiful artwork of playing cards behind the bar.
I saw some pictures of this area. It looks very modern, very fresh.
Yes, it's amazing. Yeah, so you walk in there, The atmosphere is just so cool. You got all these tables. There's a guy playing piano. And that's where they do their close-up magic as well. They got some close-up pads that kind of fold over the top of the piano, and that's where they'll have their close-up acts perform before the stage show. They'll do like 25 minutes of close-up next to the piano where everyone kind of surrounds them, and then you go in and see a stage show for, I don't even remember how long it was, an hour and a half maybe. So yeah, it's a really cool setup, and they do shows Thursday through Saturday. For close-up, they had John Carney, which I believe he's their main close-up guy for most of this year, which is amazing. For those who don't know who John Carney is, he's one of the most decorated close-up magicians in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, the stuff he does is unbelievable. I remember there was it was either middle or high school. I went through a stretch of like really digging into a lot of stuff that he does and doing a lot of reading about some of the stuff he's put out. Really talented close-up guy. And then they had Tina Leonard and Mike Cavaney, who are husband and wife, for the stage show, and they were a treat to watch as well. They're two of the best stage magicians in the world.
Is it correct that they perform separate, or do they do anything together?
No, they do perform separate, yeah.
Okay.
Which I'd never seen them before. I think I had seen some of Tina's acts before, not in person. And I don't know that I've seen much of Mike, but he was very funny. So that was fun to watch. And then I did at the end of the stage show, there was a couple people that hung around a little later, and Jeff asked me to do a few minutes of close up on the piano. So I did a couple tricks, and then he did one, and we talked a little magic, and it was a fun evening for sure.
So
that's a sweet spot.
I really want to check it out, because I also researched it enough to find a picture of like what the theater looks like too. I love the concept of, it's like a very intimate theater, but it seems like they use the space really well. So it feels pretty big, doesn't it?
It's great. Yeah. I mean, it is. I think I read it's 129 seats, which is small.
Yeah.
The stage isn't elevated at all. It's just kind of on the ground there. And the seats are like right up next, like the front row is right up next to the performers. And it feels really intimate. Like you would never miss anything like you might in a big Vegas show. Like even if you're in the back row, you're still so close to everything, and you're going to see everything very well.
Exactly.
And the setup of the stage is perfect. And the close-up area is great. I mean, just the whole place is really, it really blew me away how cool it was.
There's pretty much no bad seats in the house.
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
One thing,
and John,
go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. No, you.
So this might actually go into what you were what you're about to talk about, but I know you mentioned that something about a conversation with John Carney that you had.
Yes, it was very brief, but so I walk in and wait for Jeff to come out, and I say hi to Jeff and meet him, and I'm just kind of sitting at a table waiting for the close-up to start, and I look to my left, and over in this like lounge area left of the bar, I see a man sitting by himself, and I look at him, and I'm just thinking, I think that's John Carney, and I didn't know that he was performing that night. I didn't know, because I think he's also doing some of the stage stuff, because I see on their website, like he's listed as a stage act as well.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
So I didn't expect him to be there, because I didn't see him on the agenda for the weekend, but I guess he's their close-up guy for most weekends.
Yeah.
So I look over him like, oh, that's John Carney. That's pretty crazy.
Look at that. Look at that guy.
And he also keeps looking at me.
Oh no. Like, do I know this guy?
Which, yeah, he kept looking at me as if he did know me. And I'm just thinking, like, do I really stand out like as a magician?
Right.
You know, I guess I was wearing a sports coat, but it was made of like a sweatshirt material. Like it wasn't, I don't know. Is
it this like sixth sense that magicians have when sensing it? It's like they can smell it. Did you smell it?
Yeah, but hold on. I'm going to look up this name here. So he comes up to me.
Okay.
After a few minutes, and he asked me my name, and I tell him Lucas, and he's like, "You look exactly like a guy in Vegas who's this comedy magician. I'm trying to look up his name right now. I can't remember. Defate or something.
Oh,
something
Nick
along those lines.
Nick Defate.
Yeah, Nick Defate.
Yeah,
Nick Defate. That's
yeah.
the name. Yeah, he comes up to me and he's like, "You look just like Nick Defate. Like that's crazy." And I had heard of Nick before, but I've never seen any of his stuff.
Yeah, he's
And
great.
so he tells me who Nick is, and I tell him, yeah, I do magic as well. Like I've been doing close-up magic for a long time, and we talked for a few minutes, and he wanders off, and a few minutes later, he comes back with his phone, and he's like, here's a picture of Nick, and he shows me a picture of Nick, and I'm like, oh yeah, and he does look like me, like he's also wearing a plain black hat like I am now.
Okay.
I think he had glasses on. Like he definitely looks like me.
Yeah, I haven't never thought about
like
it,
him.
but yeah, I could see it. I could see it.
There's some similarity for sure. And then he pulls up his camera and he's like, "Can I take a picture with you to send to Nick?" And
that's great.
And I'm like, "Sure." And I did not expect to go into Marvin's and have John Carney ask for a picture with me. That's completely backwards of how it should have been.
Right. Like you go, like, do I know? Is this Nick? Wait, let me send you a picture.
He wanted to take a picture of me to send to Nick.
That's crazy.
Which is hilarious. Just totally weird. Nick, that one of the best close-up magicians of all time wants to take a picture with me and not the other way around, like it should be.
So now you need to collaborate with Nick in some way, maybe do like a stage double thing.
Well, we could do the trick from The Prestige, we could be like Christian Bale, go in one door and come out the other immediately.
There you go. Might as well just do that.
The teleported man, like Hugh Jackman's character. Yeah, we could do something like that. Nick, if you're listening.
Nick, I know you're listening, Nick.
If you're listening, just contact Jeff Hopson.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if I met Nick, but I guess I've. Oh, there's a funny story that actually involves him. He wouldn't remember me, but I'm gonna leave it off the podcast. So because I guess I'll tell you off the pod as much as I hate to say that on the recording, but
okay.
I think I've seen him a couple times in the Iowa Magic Convention that Steve Daly puts on called Abracorndabra. But that was before he's had some like personal releases that have been very popular, and then he's had his own personal success. I mean, he was successful back then, but he really leveled up in the past maybe 5 years.
Hell yeah. That's great.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Well, yeah, we might have to check him out when we go through Vegas.
Yeah, I didn't realize he was
add to the list.
He has a residency somewhere.
I don't remember where he is, but John told me he performs in Vegas.
Yeah, we'll track him down.
Good comedy show. Yeah. So anyways, that's the other big story I wanted to tell you.
Yeah, no.
Pretty funny to have that happen.
Were you at all tempted to be like, yeah, it's me, it's Nick?
Oh no. No, definitely not. That wouldn't have lasted long, considering I am not Nick.
I don't know what about me. I don't know how maybe I'm just very generic, or maybe I'm everywhere at the same time. But I've had so many instances where people thought I was somebody else, both inside magic, but also outside of magic. I don't know. People talk about having like just that kind of face, but I never take that. I never take that well. It just confuses me. Like like maybe I sleepwalk and I do some crazy shit and everybody just sees me.
Maybe you're the best sleepwalking magician of all time.
We can work on that. That's a good concept. We should write that down.
Yeah, we could do a sleepwalking effect.
Yeah. Speaking of sleepwalking, we actually, this is not even a segue. I was just going to, we have an ad read today.
Okay.
And Lucas, do you have that? I pulled up.
Yeah, let me pull it up here, and we'll.
So let me just start by saying we are very thankful to have a sponsor, because we would not be able to do anything of this nature at this high tier without their support. So without further ado, Lucas, could you talk a little bit about our sponsor here?
I would love to.
All right, take it away.
You'll never catch me.
Oh.
For years, there has been one breakfast delight that has gone largely unnoticed. No matter how hard you try, you will not catch me.
Okay.
Pancakes and croissants are way too heavily praised in the communities among the Earth sphere that we call home. You'll never catch me without my muffin.
Oh.
The Muffin Brotherhood for the past 3.5 to 3 3/4 to 3 3/4 years has made sure to bring upon you, the consumer, the reasons why muffins are underrated and what we can do to stop the anti-muffin community.
Oh, so the not to interrupt you, even though.
No, go ahead.
The anti-muffin community is I was just going to say they're really the bane of my existence. Continue, please.
Yeah, it's a community that keeps rising. We got to get rid of them.
Absolutely.
So to surpass the doubt amongst the breakfast food community is their main priority, basically, for the anti-muffin guys.
Yeah.
Statistically, almost every 20 minutes and 40 seconds, a muffin gets disrespected.
Yeah. That's crazy. That's really sad,
I'm sorry. It is.
Are you crying? Is that... Oh, you're
yeah.
That's not going to look good.
No.
That's... Okay, keep going.
Let's continue.
Okay.
Not anymore. Muffin Brotherhood is a company that puts trash...
All right, to deep breaths.
Sorry.
I know it's a very emotional topic because
I was crying there.
Really, it's for years that this has been an issue. So, in fact, if we don't take this seriously, it's gonna look bad on us in the afterlife. So let's just continue with an open heart as we, they paid us to do this, Lucas, and you're kind of dropping the ball here.
You know what? You're fucking right. We got it.
The Muffin Brotherhood.
Let me gear up here.
It's a brotherhood. I'm gonna let you.
Fuck.
I'm gonna let you continue.
Yeah, let me keep going.
I think you can have a redemption arc in this.
Muffin Brotherhood is a company that puts trackers inside all muffins within the continental United States and Puerto Rico. Why? To ensure a proper journey from muffin manufacturer to consumer gullet.
Makes sense.
When the muffin is initially broken apart, a Brotherhood agent will appear shortly, regardless of your location. Don't ask how. These are trade secrets. The agent then uses state-of-the-art muffin ray equipment to make sure said muffin is inside of the target's body. If it is, the agent will disappear and leave behind a discount code for their next muffin purchase.
I like
Pretty
that.
nice.
It's like a Santa type of thing.
That's nice. Eat your muffins, get discounts.
Yeah.
If the muffin is not 90% inside of their body, then they will be jailed for 45 days. Seems reasonable.
You got to do what you got to do. There's got to be consequences.
If you start eating a muffin, just finish the fucking muffin.
Good call.
They will then be put on the muffin watch list where they will never step foot into a bakery ever again.
Yeah.
Muffin Brotherhood is here to ensure the hostile takeover of muffins. Where is the respect for these breakfast cupcakes?
Wait,
for the next 5 days.
So
yeah,
breakfast cupcakes is a very good point because muffins for the longest time they haven't really had an identity, but when you compare them to something as widely even though I hate cupcakes personally, this is probably a bad take, but
muffins are better though because they don't have the bullshit frosting on it.
I mean, it's like if breakfast food and desserts came together and saved the world.
Look at pancakes. They have the name cake in them, so people like them.
Yeah, they have the name.
Muffin doesn't have the name cake,
yeah.
So people disrespect them.
It's got muff and in, whereas like pan and cake, it's just setting it's really unfair what's happened to muffins. But I'll let you continue.
Yeah, so continuing for the next 5 days, use code muffin where you be. Let me put you inside of me.
Oh, actually, sorry, Lucas. Can we backtrack there? So
we can.
I think that the discount code is actually muffin where you be. Let me put inside of me.
Oh, okay.
We don't want to.
I see. I was reading this incorrectly. Muffin, where you be? Let me put inside of me.
Yes, if you put an extra word in there, the discount code's not going to work. So,
when you buy your next muffin, to receive a chakra boost of 4, which will benefit you greatly in the afterlife. Keep your muffins down. Thank you to all of the listeners for eating muffins regularly and making sure to finish at least 90% or face the associated jail time.
Wow, that was,
yeah.
Muffin Brotherhood has really held it down for years.
Big thanks. Yeah. Big thank you to Muffin Brotherhood there.
Yeah, let's clap for them.
For supporting us in our opening episode of the Flaming Melon. Couldn't do it without you.
Yeah, should we go into details about what they donated to us?
Probably not. That might be a little...
No? We don't want to flaunt all the cash that they provided us.
That could be a little taboo.
But, there's risk involved being a Muffin Brotherhood member because you're supposed to be a representative, which is why, frankly, I'm worried about the read that we just had. Not that we're going to lose their sponsorship, but that you might lose your life to the Muffin Mafia for the ad read.
Yeah, I guess I didn't really realize the seriousness of their organization.
Oh, so no. Was that them at the door?
I think I'm going to be locked up for a couple weeks here.
All right. Well, yeah, shout out to the Muffin Brotherhood for doing everything that they really can for us and for you. So you better eat a muffin 90% or face the proper jail time, which I think is 45 days.
All right, Patrick, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
I was about to do a SpongeBob impression and say, I'm ready, but I'm ready.
But we're not ready. We're not ready.
Are you?
Because this is going to suck.
Oh, yeah. So the first review, I guess.
First episode. Yeah. First entertainment review. First episode of Mindfreak season 1. This is the start of our segment here in entertainment reviews.
And what was the episode called? Was it called like Fire Burning Man or something?
I don't know. Just
really doesn't
fire. Matter. I can't remember. But just to preface before we get into this, whenever we review bad stuff, it's not necessarily to make fun of the person. We don't know Criss Angel at all. We just know what we see in his TV appearances and maybe live performances. We have no idea what he's like as a person. I mean, we know he's done a lot of bad stuff for Magic, but he's also done some good stuff and a lot of good stuff outside of Magic, like the charities that he donates to. So this isn't to necessarily shit on the man. It's just to shit on the show that is super shitty.
Well, so pretty much we're looking at the show as it looks today. Not in, I don't know, it was 2005 or 2006.
Yeah, I think 2006. It was definitely it still is the highest grossing show in Magic, and there's something to be said about that. And it was definitely way more respected back then, although probably not by many magicians.
Well, like much things in the entertainment industry, especially in film, sometimes things, and reality TV specifically, some things just do not age very well.
No, especially when they aren't real.
Right. So,
you can look at David Blaine's first special. It ages great because it's real.
Right. It's you're seeing what you see is what you get, which is actually, I think, a Criss Angel quote. Funny enough, I think that's something that he says quite a bit. If I'm not mistaken, what you see is what you get. Well, so we should start by, so there is an intro song that I wanna quote, but I will
before you quote that, I don't know if you had this written down too.
The warning.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, the warning. Yeah. Well,
okay.
you talk about the warning because I'm going to talk about what comes after the warning.
Oh, okay. So there's a warning at the beginning. Warning: the stunts and illusions performed on this program were designed and tested by Criss Angel, a highly trained professional. These demonstrations are extremely dangerous and should not be attempted by anyone, anywhere, at any time. All right, what happens after that?
So you get that lovely warning, and then before the intro music, you get this close up of Criss sitting at a table, and he like sits up, lights a match, and he just says this.
Oh yeah.
He says this intro that I assume he thinks when he was doing it, it's just like, this is gonna sound so badass. Like, but he lights this match and he's just like, fire, a harmless flicker.
Oh yeah.
Or a harmless flicker, or a potential firestorm.
You know what? I hated that so much. I just tried to push it out of my memory.
Oh, it's just so ridiculous. Already the tone is insane. And then you get into the intro, which I know you're going to talk about that.
Yeah, so the intro, so there's a song actually written by Criss, because Criss was into music before, or around the same time as magic, and I think he prioritized music at one point over magic, if I'm not mistaken. But he has his own soundtrack that plays as you get taken through this like mirage desert type of scene where these different characters get introduced, that really don't have a role in the show. But I will say that one of the characters, Johnny Thompson, rest in peace, one of the best magicians to ever walk the planet. But there's also Steve Daly, who was a big Vegas entertainer, hypnotist. At the time he was a very big guy. He did an impression of Cher. It was crazy. He actually ran that Iowa Magic Convention that I mentioned earlier. I'm just tying that back. It doesn't really hold any weight to anything that we're talking about, but I just thought I found that interesting because I didn't know he was in the intro until not that long ago. But he's a great guy. Yes,
he is. Yes.
So the song that plays, I'm gonna read it to you. I'm not gonna sing it, unless you think I should, Lucas.
I'm gonna leave that up to you.
Okay, I was gonna hope you said no because I don't want to, so I'm not going to. All right, so the song, this is the whole song. Okay. The whole song doesn't play during the episode, but I'm going to read the whole song to you anyways. Are you ready? These flowers bleed your tears. The darkness calls your name. I'm staring down your fears. There's pleasure in this pain. So right now I'm thinking he's doing something a little freaky with a flower bed, but I'm not sure. So it continues. Don't think you are alone, because soon I think you'll find I am the voice you hear, screaming inside your mind. Your mind. I am inside your mind. I hypnotize. And then the chorus comes in. I am the mind freak. Mind freak. There's no reality. Just this world of illusion that keeps on haunting me. I am the mind freak. Mind freak. And I think Mindfreak gets repeated 4 times after that. My ego pushes you. Interesting statement from Criss. It is. It's never
acknowledging
satisfied.
His massive ego.
Right. And I didn't really consider this, but yeah. My ego pushes you. It's never satisfied. My will is cutting through. I see the truth inside. We see the truth inside, Criss. Don't think it's killing you, because soon I think you'll find you are the voice you hear, screaming inside your mind. Your mind. I am inside your mind. I hypnotize. Chorus comes in. And then he says, I've got to touch your mind. I hypnotize. And then he says, are you ready? Go! And then the chorus comes back in again. And then after the chorus plays through, it goes, he's just yelling, Mind freak! Mind freak! Mind freak! And then there's like, are you ready? And then it just kind of flashes into the show. So definitely worth a listen.
So intense.
This song was probably on my, how the Spotify has how Spotify has the year-end thing where it shows you what you listen to.
Yeah. That's number 1 for you.
Well, maybe about 10,000 hours listened. This is probably 80% of that.
Oh, yeah. Great. Yeah, I've listened to it twice, and that is both times I watched this episode, and that was too much.
Right. And I don't even think they play the whole song. It's just snippets of it.
Yeah, they definitely don't, because it doesn't go on that long. I was gonna say, I don't. You kept going. I was like, what the fuck? It's not this long, is it?
Right. They only keep the most important parts of it in there.
Yeah, of course, yes.
Well, Lucas, let me ask you this question.
Yeah. So,
are you ready?
I guess so.
Yeah. So,
I guess so. Let's get going.
yeah, the first thing that, and this, we've never talked about this episode really yet. So we may have some different thoughts on it, different takes. We may have picked up on some different things, but the first thing that I noticed is that Criss starts the episode with, to summarize, it's pretty much a poetic line about how he wants to be set on fire. I don't have that.
Yeah.
I don't have that quoted, but it's similar to how he was like at the table, I think, talking with the match.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. And he makes a comment about how magic at the time is a novelty and not taken seriously as an art, and he wants to change that. And I do like he has a lot of good takes that he shares in terms of
that makes sense. I agree with that.
Yeah, some of his thoughts on magic and what he wants it to be line up with mine and yours too. I would assume.
But then he just starts doing this stuff that doesn't line up with that at all.
Yeah. So do you want to go into the first trick then that you see?
I would love to. Yeah. So before we even get into the trick,
okay,
like I noticed this before I even knew what the trick was going to be. We get a shot of him walking up to a group of people on the street, and he walks up and he's like, "What's your name?" And he's like, "Mike." And for whatever reason, there's just this really intense music playing during this sequence, and like throughout the entire trick, of course. Yeah. But like, it's just like, "What's your name?" My name's Mike, and it's just like, da-da, like just like
Mike.
Very.
I am the Mike Freak. Yeah, keep going. Yeah, the music choices in this show are
it's very just so ridiculous. It's like nothing is even happening yet. You've asked a guy his name, and like you're trying to make us feel like dread and just
right.
What the?
No, Mike.
Yeah, exactly. It's just so crazy. But to get into the trick, I don't know what I was expecting. I never watched this show growing up, but he immediately, like the first trick of season 1, episode 1, is just immediately a camera trick.
I call it
using Stooges. First one.
When I wrote it down, I called it trash can.
Yeah. Yes. So the trick, to describe the trick, he goes up to this group of people outside of, I don't even fucking know, some place in Vegas on the street corner. Yeah. And he takes this empty trash can, and he's got a walkie-talkie. He's got 2 walkie-talkies. He gives one to a spectator. He holds on to one. And he says to everyone, "Okay, I want you to turn this trash can upside down and put it over me and push it flush with the concrete. And I'm going to be talking to you on this radio," which
what?
seems totally unnecessary. Yes. I don't think the thin wall of plastic that is the trash can is going to prevent anyone from hearing him.
Right. He has
but you'll see why. You'll see why the radio is important.
But at that point, he has this walkie-talkie, and he's like, "All right, so I'm going to communicate to you through this walkie-talkie as you cover me up with this trash can, because this is a sound." Somehow this trash can is soundproof.
Maybe it's the garbage bag is just totally soundproof. Who knows?
Speaking of the garbage bag, I don't know if maybe this is a common practice that I'm not aware of in the trash industry, but he started by, he pointed out the trash can, and then he was like, he had, I don't know if he did it or somebody else, but they took out the bag, and he was like, "All right, so there's another bag in this trash can." Like there was a...
Oh, really?
Yeah. There's initially trash in the trash can.
Okay, I don't remember that.
But then that gets taken out, and he makes a comment about how there's... Okay, good. So there's another bag in there. And I'm just thinking to myself, is this normal? Is there... I mean, practically...
Maybe it is.
Maybe it's a practical thing.
I don't see how that would make a difference since he's doing a camera trick anyways.
Yeah, right.
But... Right. Anyways, to continue. Yes. So he puts the trash can. He gets people to push the trash can over him, and he's talking to him through the walkie. He's like, "Okay, I want you to just push down against the concrete. Keep pushing, And then you hear through the walkie-talkie, "Okay, lift." And then they lift up, and like maybe 4 or 5 seconds have gone by since the trash can has been in contact. Like,
right. Maybe less.
with the ground.
Maybe less.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like, lift, and they lift the trash can, and he's no longer there. Not in the trash can, not anywhere. And he is now on the second story of the building overlooking on a balcony.
Right above them.
Is just standing up there with his arms spread out like, here I am.
And which
is... Go ahead.
So I forgot to mention this. So as you were saying, as he's covering up as they're covering him up with the trash can, he's through the walkie-talkie. He's taking deep breaths as they're doing it, like
yeah.
What does he say? What does he say? Here's what he says. He's like, keep coming down, John. and then back to what you were saying. They cover him up there. He keeps telling them to press on top of the trash can, then tells them to lift. Boom. All of a sudden he's up on this balcony a couple stories right above them where this building is on the strip.
Yeah, that I don't remember the weird grunting, which he does a lot of in the trash can bit. Like, why would you need? What are you doing to your body that getting a trash can put on top of you is causing you like this physical occurrence where you need to just be like exhaling deeply.
You know,
maybe
maybe he's asthmatic.
Imagine going to see like Penn and Teller, and they make like Teller makes Penn vanish and appear inside a box, and Penn's just standing there under a tarp going like,
right, like you really. I mean, you know, assuming this is real,
it's so ridiculous.
Assuming it's real, we don't know what actually happens in real teleportation. Maybe there's some heavy breathing involved.
Right. That's probably what he's getting at.
It's strenuous.
But we know that there's not real teleportation.
Well, I don't know.
And the problem with this trick is it falls into a trap that's easy to do on TV where it's too simple of a trick. And there's not enough mystery to it to how it could have worked to make it fun to watch. Like when a trick like this is being done and you can only think of one way that it can happen, that's how it happened. Like that's how it worked.
Right. And this is it's an interesting choice for the opening trick, but at the same time, I think this really sets the stage for how the rest of this episode and the rest of the series is like they
absolutely.
They're not. It's very unapologetic the way that he performs.
Yes,
I respect
now,
that.
If this was a trick that was like done on stage, where he has audience members come up and cover him in a trash can, and it took a lot longer for him to appear somewhere else, that's a solid trick because there's multiple ways that could happen. But to do it on the street, where the teleportation happens over a matter of 4 seconds for him to get on the second level of a building from under a trash can where there's clearly not going to be any escape on the concrete.
Right.
It's just so blatantly obvious that the only way you could do this is with a camera trick.
And you and I, as magicians, know that, you know, it's all fake. So, I mean, magic is, you know, not to burst anybody's bubble who's listening. You know, I don't.
Magic isn't real.
No, well, don't say. Well, but Santa is. Don't forget that.
Santa's real.
Santa's real, but magic is not. Which is weird because Santa is built on magic, which means that Santa is not real. Is that correct?
I don't want to get into that.
Okay, well, it's a little too political to get into the Santology.
Yeah.
So that first trick really sets the stage. And then, so pretty much the premise of each episode of Mindfreak is based on the final piece in the episode that they kind of hype up through. They have tricks and stuff throughout the episode, but during the off time they also show like the planning of the final stunt. And in this case, it's Chris's mom's 70th birthday, so he wants to do something very, very, very nice for her, just kind of to pay homage to her on her 70th birthday. It's a big deal. Speaking of his parents, his dad is deceased. I think in like 98 his dad was deceased, so he's been passed for like 7 years at this point. But his mom, you learn a little bit about his mom in the first episode, and she gets her own little camera time where she's talking about Criss and his backstory and how they felt about their son performing magic. And it's pretty clear that initially they didn't really support him, but
right.
He proved he eventually, and I think this is probably true for a lot of people who have chosen this career path. But he eventually proved to them that, this is what he wanted to do, and he was good at it.
Right.
So I don't know if I want to ruin the. So we'll get to what the final stunt is, but I will say about the final. So the final stunt involves fire. Everybody in his team knows about the stunt, right? It's real. It's not magic. But one thing that keeps getting hammered in throughout the whole episode is that there's some type of illusion at the end that nobody on the team is aware of.
Yeah.
Nobody
right.
on the team knows whatever. Like
Yeah.
they keep like adding this suspense. Like,
yeah,
I have
he's
no
like,
idea.
We're going to do this crazy stunt and then a little bit of an illusion.
Right.
Which, yeah, we'll get to that. Before we get into the next trick on the show, just one little thing that I noted in my second run through. After the trash can trick, there's then this short little monologue that starts with him talking about how he loves when you're able to touch someone on an emotional level and how that's the strongest type of magic.
Oh,
it's just like, dude, you just vanished from a trash can and appeared on a building. How is that touching anyone emotionally?
I saw Criss, like, you're saying, even if it was real, how does that touch somebody? Well, when I first saw Criss Angel, he covered himself with a trash can, and that really showed me the metaphor about how we value ourselves. And then when he teleports to the balcony, he shows that we can rise up out of the trash can and become a higher being.
Maybe I just didn't get it. Maybe this is for a more sophisticated audience.
Yeah, this was made for people taking philosophy college courses.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Do you want to start the next sentence? Or the next segment? I know you have some stuff to say about the next trick that he does.
Yeah, this one is probably arguably the most outrageous out of everything in the episode, and it's a voodoo trick. So Criss introduces this voodoo doll, but he calls it, so it's a doll made by the band Korn, so he calls it a corn doll. And this doll,
which is totally a pointless reference.
Right.
That doesn't come into play again.
Right.
He's just like, this is actually a corn doll after my favorite band, Korn. Well, and that's it.
Maybe he felt like he was being a little personal, a little vulnerable by showing that he, some of his personal music taste. But yeah, it's unnecessary, especially when you consider everything else in the trick. There's nothing. It has no purpose.
It doesn't tie back at all. It's a very strange reference.
So he takes this corn doll and he does this, and this is another common theme in the episodes. At least one of the tricks, they'll show clips of it being performed on multiple people. So you see a bunch of reactions of him doing similar or the exact same thing on multiple spectators. So you get to see different people react to it. And the first person is this woman who is asked for a ring because he needs something that's personal from the spectator to use to make the corn doll work.
Yes.
So he tapes this.
And I love how she just immediately gives up the ring without question.
Right.
He goes up to her, says, "Hi, how are you? What's your name? I have this corn doll. I need something personal." And she just is immediately willing to hand out her ring, which I would be a little hesitant.
She's pretty much
in that situation.
She's like,
so
marry me.
I love that part.
Right.
Yeah.
It really, yeah. I didn't even consider that, but you're 100% right that it's just without question. Like, oh,
just immediately ring off the finger. Here you go.
Yeah.
Take it.
Like, what else do you need, Criss? You need some money? You need to. So he tapes this ring to the voodoo doll and then has the person facing away from him. He then lights the hand of the voodoo doll with a lighter, or I think it's the hand. He does a couple of different ways. I think he does the feet on some people. But the first person's reaction, she was kind of giggly. She was like, "Oh, like what's," like just kind of a little bit surprised, but she never acted like she was genuinely in pain from it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It was a very weird reaction, I guess is what I would say in the terms of the first one. But so another part of the voodoo, so this was done on multiple people. Another person, the voodoo doll was lit on the foot, like he took a lighter on the foot. And here's an interesting thing that I noticed about this I think it was the second person he did this to. He's lighting the foot on fire, and then the person starts to shake their hand.
Oh, really?
Yes. I noticed this. So they start to shake their hand, and I'm like, what? Before they react to the foot, which makes me think that they record this in multiple. They recorded multiple versions of the trick on the same people.
It could be.
And the person was coached to. They were doing something that they were coached to do for a previous take. You get what I mean?
Yeah. Someone behind the camera started being like, "No, your foot."
Right. They just started like shaking their hand, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Oh, whoa," and they start moving their foot.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
And then they start shaking their feet. So my favorite take that they do is this gentleman who, so Criss lights the fire under the hand of the voodoo doll, this time for like, I want to say 5 seconds. And the guy's just standing facing away from him, not saying a word. Everything's fine. All of a sudden the guy's like screaming. The guy decides that, the fire hit him all at once pretty much. He starts cussing, and it's like bleep 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 bleep. And Criss, after this guy is clearly upset and in pain, Criss is just like, "Did you feel it?"
Yes, I don't know if this is a direct quote, but he was just like, "Ah, fuck, what are you doing, man?"
Yes, yeah, that's pretty much what he said.
And then Criss, "You felt that?"
It's just and Criss was being serious too. Like, "Oh, did I do that?" Like a Steve Urkel, did I do that?
Oh my god.
So before he switches the trick up, do you have any other should I keep going with the effect?
Yeah, you keep going.
So then after that, he switches. He it seems like it's specifically related to the last guy who's mad too. After that, he's like, he says, "All right." He pretty much acknowledges that they're mad at him, and then gives them the voodoo doll in a pin. And then they're still facing away from him, but they have the doll and the pin, and they poke the doll wherever they want. and this is just like before, they show like 3 or 4 different instances of people doing this, and they stick the pin into the voodoo doll wherever they want. So let's say the hand, right? Pretty much as payback, he gives them the opportunity to hurt him. So when they stick the pin in whatever body part they choose to, he then starts to like react to the he reacts to it as if he's getting hurt now. And so he's like, oh, and then they turn around. They sometimes they slowly turn around in a hilarious way, realizing that he's like grunting in pain, and then they realize that he now has blood dripping from wherever they stuck the pin in. One time it was the hand, one time it was the chest,
and then his nose.
The nose. He's got a bloody nose.
Yeah.
In terms of the guy who got really pissed off, when he stabbed after he stabbed Criss, or after he stabbed the voodoo doll and realized that Criss got hurt, he started laughing and he was like, "Are you okay?
Yeah.
Are you okay? You really shouldn't be burning people," or something along those lines. It was,
which is true. You shouldn't be doing magic that hurts your spectators.
Right.
That hurts the audience.
That's something that it's really hard to recreate in a reality TV show is pain. At least for them.
Yeah.
It was very obvious that because of how wildly different the spectators reacted, none of them were believable in the slightest bit, in my personal opinion.
Yeah.
That's not,
Yeah. And acting aside, this is the same as the first trick in that there's just no mystery to it, and there's no way that it could be done for real.
Exactly.
Like it's too clean looking. Like there's nothing crazy happening.
Right. That alone.
And no magician would actually hurt their audience intentionally. At least I fucking hope not.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you haven't seen my new act, but it's.
It's actually I hurt everyone in the audience.
Right. Everybody. I have a bunch of corn dolls, and then I just throw them in a trash compactor.
Yeah. I open a curtain on stage, and there's a miniature set of all the seats with corn dolls.
I like this idea. We could speak about this later.
And I just go through them and just hurt them in various ways.
Some people are really taboo about that. So if you actually did that on stage, that might really. Some people believe, in that type of magic, I guess you would say.
For sure.
But everybody just starts screaming in pain in the audience, and then I'm just like, you feel it? Did you feel that?
You guys feel that? You just set the whole thing on fire, the miniature set.
Right.
Did you guys feel that?
Did you feel that? Well, I could rant about this trick all day, but
we should probably keep going though.
I do have the quote from the guy that got pissed off the first time. He laughed and he said, "I'm sorry, man. You shouldn't be burning people." So after this happens,
naturally,
right after this happens, there's this little cut scene that's kind of a callback to some of the scenery during the song in the beginning, and it's the Criss says, "Enter my mind, freak." and then the show does keep going on.
Yes.
So would you like to go into? Do you have anything to say before we get into the trick that
I got one last thing.
Yeah.
In some of the shots where Criss is bleeding,
yes,
after the spectators are getting him back, you can see people in the background who clearly aren't in on it, and they're just kind of standing back there watching Criss bleed from his chest, going
yeah,
as they're just filming him, and this lady is standing there watching him, and these people are just so confused in the background.
They didn't look concerned at all, did they? Or did they?
No, they look very concerned. They're like, what the fuck is going on here?
Well, yeah, in one instance he's bleeding
so
from
weird.
where the heart would be. in some instances.
Yeah, that's the moment that I saw, where there was a couple in the background that was just like, what are we watching?
like
They were clearly not part of the production.
Is that man okay?
Yeah. But moving on.
Yeah.
So after that beautiful piece, we get a close-up trick.
Breaks it up a little bit. It's refreshing.
Yeah, he's in a restaurant.
Right.
And he goes up to two ladies sitting at a table. And this is how he opens. Hi, ladies, how are you? I see you got some nice rings there. And one of them instantly gives him her ring. So we have back-to-back effects where a spectator, without knowing who Criss is, just immediately gives him a ring.
Lucas,
without question.
I wrote this. I took a note of the exact same line. It looks like I see you have some nice rings there, and she's just like, yes.
Just like, yeah, let me take here.
Right.
You want it?
Volunteers the ring up.
But to describe the trick, he takes the ring, he puts his hand on top of it, as the ladies cover his hand, says some awkward monologue about how, is this fair? Like, does everything seem fair? And makes the ring vanish.
Right. Kind of over justifying the cleanness of how everything feels.
We know it's fair, Criss. You put your hand on the ring. We have your hands on top of it.
The more you talk about it, the less fair it seems.
Yeah, now it seems a little weird.
Right.
So anyways, the ring vanishes.
Yeah.
And then he points to an ice cube in this woman's drink. And they pull the ice cube out, and her ring is inside of it. Now, I will say before we nitpick it a little bit, this has potential to be the only trick in this episode that could have been for real.
Right.
I still don't think it is. I don't think there's a single trick in this episode other than the stunt that is being done for real.
Right.
But this could have been. This could go either way.
It could have been performed in the same it could have, you're saying it could have had the same feel, the same effect, but the way he did it, as far as we are aware.
Yeah. It seems unlikely that it was done for real.
Right.
But it could be done for real.
It's possible.
It wouldn't be very hard to do it for real. I just don't think he is.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is generally to make a ring appear in an ice cube in real time, you would need a duplicate ring of sorts. But the woman, they crush it out of the cube, and the woman says that's her ring and puts it back on her finger.
It's like she immediately, as soon as he's taking out the ice cube, she's like, "That's my ring. That's my ring." And it's kind of hard to even make it out on the camera.
Right. Which, if you had a duplicate in there and crushed it out and then switched it for her ring and gave it back, that's one thing.
Right.
That would fit better in a parlor setting versus a close-up.
Right.
That would be one of many ways to do it, but it's clear that they crush it out and there's no switch and he gives her the ring. Which there's no way to make that happen that quickly.
When he grabs the drink is on the opposite corner of the table that he's at. So when he grabs it, and he starts to kind of talk about it, about what he starts to draw attention to the glass. He's like, "I think I saw something shake in the glass." And then he takes out the ice cube, and this really stood out to me. So you know how restaurants tend to have very clear ice wherever you go, very clear.
Yes.
He pulls out this huge opaque ice cube that actually, as he's pulling it out, the other normal ice in the drink, there's two pieces of ice that you know how ice kind of can stick together.
Yeah, it's stuck. Yeah,
right. And there's these two little square cubes of ice attached to this big, like, ice tray. You know how you make ice tray, or you make ice in the freezer yourself with the ice tray.
Yes.
And it's like cloudy.
It's just a glob. It's like a glob of a cloudy ice that
right.
clearly came from an ice tray, which is obviously the easiest way to put it in there. But it's like, why don't you just shave it down to a cube or something to make it look like restaurant ice instead of just plopping this big chunk of ice.
Given that they controlled every single aspect of this trick and none of it's real, they had the power to do whatever they want. So maybe it was an ice issue, maybe there was an ice.
Who knows?
It was probably just the easiest way for them to do that in a timely manner.
Yeah. Well, let's move on from that.
So after that, there's another statement he makes to the camera, in one of those like shots where he's kind of sitting in a dark room.
Mm-hmm.
He says, "Oh, this actually happens while he is breaking up the ice." There's a voiceover of him saying, "Illusions, mentalism, and hypnosis are just tools to be able to connect with the audience." As he's breaking up the ice, it's just a voiceover that plays.
Very poetic there.
There's actually a lot of truth to that statement. I found it a decent point.
It just doesn't really fit in that moment.
That's the thing. It stands out like a cloudy ice cube, pretty much.
Yeah, it does. It does stand out like that.
Did you take note of the bit that happens with Johnny Thompson in the RV?
I did, yes.
Yeah.
He's on a call with Lance Burton. It's just this little snippet. It's the only time Johnny's in the episode. And he's telling Lance Burton he's in a bus full of magicians and they're going to burn one.
Right.
And
this is probably a good time. So if you actually watch the episode, at this point we've been holding back some knowledge of the final stunt, but it's clear they talk about this stunt throughout the episode pretty much. Even though they don't focus on it till more in the last third of the episode probably. But for his mom's 70th birthday, he says he wants to light himself up like a candle. Mm-hmm. So he wants to light himself on fire for his mom's 70th birthday. I respect him for that. I think that that's a great birthday gift to his mom, who is 70.
Totally, yeah.
Right.
My mom would love that. And just set myself on fire.
Right. I mean, really, it should have been him and 69 other people, if they want, and then get on like a cake or something.
Yeah, and get on a big cake. That would have been way better.
Get Buddy Velastro from the Cake Boss series.
Yeah. Make a jumbo cake and get
Yeah.
all 69 of Chris's friends and light them on fire.
Yeah, all 69 of Chris's friends. So, yeah. So when Johnny makes he's telling Lance on the phone that everybody's going to burn one. That's a joke about Criss lighting himself up on fire.
Yes.
But also about smoking. Of course.
Anyways, we see next Criss is doing a test run.
Right.
At the Aladdin pool.
Right.
And at this point, before they go with the test run, Criss states to the stunt coordinator, I want to burn longer. I want to burn with less protection.
Right.
It's just like, why? Like, that doesn't really add anything to the stunt. Like, visually it's the same. It's just whether you're gonna get burnt worse, which isn't crazy. It's not like you're gonna die. It's not like you're putting death on the line. What you're putting on the line is maybe getting second or third degree burns.
Right.
Like, that's not entertaining. That's not a good stunt.
Along the same lines as your take on Criss trying to be like, I want this to be unsafe. I wrote down, Criss insists on minimizing safety. He really he wanted to do this as dangerous as possible, pretty much.
Yes.
And his clothes, so pretty much another thing that I'm just going to cut away from this and say, they really like showing Criss shirtless, sometimes without pants on too. And like, you might remember, at one point during the show, they were showing him wake up. It's like they had a security camera in his hotel room, and they just show him getting out of bed without a shirt on or pants on. And it's just
Yes.
for like a second or two, and it just seems very irrelevant. You know?
Yes, there's a lot of that.
But so in terms of how he does this stunt, he wears some clothes that are soaked in something called burn gel.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know much about this, but I assume well, so the clothing itself, I think, was already it was already fire retardant to an extent, but the burn gel, I guess, adds a layer of protection around it. And then he puts like a regular hoodie on over that. Right?
Yeah.
It's like, I think that he has a layer over everything that protects him.
Yes.
That actually that actually lights on fire, correct?
Yes.
So he does the practice run. He walks around this pool on fire for a little bit. And then he eventually, after walking around for a little bit, he goes into the pool. He jumps into the pool and he says that it got hot. He says it got hot. And
I had a note of that too, yeah. He's just like, I got hot.
Right. And then the assistant says, I told you it was going to be hot.
Just amazing stuff there.
And a common theme around Criss is that everybody around him is worried about him, including his assistant that lights him on fire.
Yes.
So at this point, I took note that Criss says he's doing an illusion at the end of the fire stunt, and nobody on the team knows what it is. And this is actually something that is reinforced maybe 3 or 4 times through the show.
Yes, multiple times
to add suspense. Yes. Like his brother is like, I have
correct.
Like they show his worry. They show worry for him being on fire, but then they also at the end of talking about the fire stunt, they'll say something like, and this is just an aside to the camera, just a one-on-one with the camera, interview almost style, and his brother said, or his brother would talk about the stunt and then be like, but I have no idea what he's doing with this illusion though. And it's like as if the illusion is more worrisome than the stunt. Like I have no idea.
We will come to find out that it's not.
Right.
And we could probably start getting into it now because I think that's the next part of the episode, unless you have something.
Well, something
else that you noted.
They had an emotional birthday dinner with his mom.
Oh, that's right.
And it just kind of reinforced that everybody's worried about Criss, and he shares some kind words with his mom, and his mom starts crying. And then they just keep reinforcing that everybody's worried about him. But yeah, let's get into it. He lights himself on fire for his mom's 70th birthday. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, we get to the area where he's going to do the stunt. It's somewhere outside on the strip. They set up a barrier around and get ready to light him on fire. And something that I noted before they get going that I just find pretty absurd is he gets together with like his mom and his brother and some of his family and team and whatever, and they say a prayer before doing it, which I just find utterly ridiculous because you are lighting yourself on fire. You are choosing to do this.
Right.
And if God is real, like why would he help you right now? You are electing to light yourself on fire.
Right.
And if part of your plan is to pray that it works out, you probably should rethink what you're doing.
Right.
Here.
And maybe God's watching down, just thinking to himself, Criss, maybe you just shouldn't light yourself on fire.
Yeah, you're probably just a fucking idiot. Just absolutely absurd that happens. And I think that's not the first time we're going to see that. But
so then
go ahead.
So he's on the strip now. He's on the strip. There's like a a barrier, or there's like people are standing around him on the strip.
He's surrounded
in a circle, right? And
Yes.
so he has this circle area, this big wide area where he does the stunt. And everybody's blocked off, but also very close to it. Like they're not even real barriers. They're just like tape or whatever.
Right.
So he gets lit. He gets lit on fire, and then he starts walking around in circles.
Yes.
It seemed very.
Just,
Say what?
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say that he just walks around aimlessly in circles pretty much, and it seems very anticlimactic after you get like 5 seconds of it.
Yes, but he just wants to keep going. He's just like
right,
and he's just walking around, and then we get cuts to his mom, who is clearly hating this, and she's just standing behind one of the barriers, just screaming like "No!" and put him out, put him out.
Right.
And it's just like, this is horrible. Like, why are you doing this for your mom? She clearly fucking hates it. This is terrible.
I genuinely hope that I don't know. I hope that it's fake, because if he's just using his mom on her birthday to get the emotional thing for the reality TV show, it's a little,
yeah, not great.
At someone who's that age, you probably don't want to scare them by lighting yourself on fire. Just to get their reaction on camera.
Yeah.
But then go ahead.
No, you.
Okay. No, you.
Okay. So he is walking around on fire, and here comes the big illusion that he had planned.
I think there was something else that I wanted to.
You got something to say before that?
I think so. So I just wanted to mention something positive. The visual of him in like this black, he's in like a black hoodie, black pants, with these massive amount of flames around him. It's a very, very awesome visual.
Yes, it is. It does look cool, and that is very hard to do. I recall a story that Penn told on his podcast about, I think it was a movie that he was in, and they wanted to get a stunt double of him to set on fire.
Right.
And I can't remember if he wanted to do it or if they just couldn't find a good stunt double because he's such a giant guy. But he's like, I can do it. Like, you can set me on fire. So they covered him up all in this gel, and they said that we're only going to do it for 5 seconds. And Criss did it for 45 seconds.
Right. There's a timer that's in the corner.
Yeah. Who knows if that's accurate? It seems accurate.
Right.
It seems like it did it for that long. So anyways, the story that Penn told is like he got covered in this goop, and they told him it's just going to be 5 seconds, but it's going to feel really long. And so they light him on fire, and Penn's just sitting there. I don't think he had to move around or anything. He's sitting there. He's like, holy shit, I'm on fire. This sucks. I'm burning. Just like it, like feels like it just was horrible pain. And many seconds go by, and he hears the guy go 1, and then what feels like 20 more seconds, he hears the guy go 2, and it feels like forever when you're on that, is the point that he was trying to make.
Yeah.
So the fact that Criss did it for that long is pretty impressive.
Well, part of me is skeptical with how many times they switch the camera shot. That it maybe it's multiple takes and bursts or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean maybe some of the shots of the audience, he's not actually on fire anymore. Like it could have been stuff like that.
Right. But if not, it takes courage to do it in the first place.
Either way, that's not an easy thing to do. Is what we're getting at, and I've heard that from people who have done that. He won't tell you how hard it is because he's a badass.
Right.
It's very difficult.
Did you feel it? Did you feel it?
Yeah. Did you feel it?
I didn't.
Can you feel it?
You feel it?
Now we get the ridiculous illusion that we've been hearing about. So at the end of his time being on fire, they have a piece of cardboard set out, or a piece of plywood.
Yeah, it's
I think.
plywood. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's supposed to just lay down on this, and his team puts him out with extinguishers. So
right.
he falls flat.
Yep.
He falls flat onto the plywood, still on fire. People rush over, put him out with some extinguishers. And then we immediately see that one of the people putting out Criss is actually Criss.
Right, because the fire crew was all dressed in black as well.
The fire crew comes in, they put him out. The smoke covers the screen of the camera.
Yes.
And then when the smoke blows away, there's one guy left that's kind of crouched over, and he just turns up and like pulls his hood back, and it's Criss. And now it's just his clothing laying on the plywood.
Right.
He's no longer there. And he's turned himself into one of the crew members, putting himself out, which is just the worst.
It's insane. Yeah, it's truly insane.
It's so bad.
So there's multiple.
So obvious.
There's so many aspects to that really are unbelievable. One of them being the amount of time that the fire extinguishers cover the camera for,
like 2 seconds.
Yeah. And then the clothes that almost appear melted into the plywood.
Yes.
And I noticed that a lot of what he's wearing is totally different.
Yes.
Like he'd have to do almost a full costume change within 2 seconds and somehow get a fire extinguisher, have the clothes, have his old clothes somehow just laying flat as if he was almost wearing them, as if he was wearing them and suddenly disappeared from his clothes. His clothes are just laying flat on there, his old clothes. There's nothing believable about it.
No, it's just it's the most obvious fake one of the entire show.
And somehow
it's just bad. It's so bad.
Right. Somehow nobody on his team knew that it was going to happen. Yet it
totally, yeah. No one knew, yet they have that one camera angle. It seems like they have multiple cameras with how many cuts they're doing. Yet the only angle we get is right in front of it where the smoke is. We don't get any other angles, and they somehow knew to be right there. Like his team clearly knew that they were gonna do this shit. So just it's all around really bad.
And to have all that build up for that moment where nobody knew the illusion, and then it's just something so unbelievable that everybody had to be in on the whole time.
And it just completely takes away from what was a cool visual with the fire.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the fire stunt, that's something that you see, like, it's something you could attach to like a legend, like one of the legends, like like I don't know if I would say Houdini, but like but of that scale where you're doing some crazy thing in front of all these people to watch, like David Blaine.
Yeah, not many people do that.
Yeah, it's a memorable, cool thing that's dangerous, breathtaking, but they really cheapen all of what was good about it by doing
Yeah, you don't see David Blaine like doing these stunts at the end of his, or doing these illusions at the end of his stunts.
Exactly.
Like it's not like he jumped off the pole when he did Vertigo and just vanished and appeared on a building somewhere. Like that would have just totally taken away from all the 36 hours that he stood up there, or however long it was.
Right. It's rough that David Blaine it's all believable because it's all real. But Criss Angel, he's taking something real and
cheapening.
Right. He's adding something fake that's not even, even if it was real, I would still be thinking about the fact that he was burning more, honestly.
Right.
Because it's, that's beyond magic to me.
Right.
But then it adds something, but I digress. The show is, I feel like if we both watched it again, we probably could pick up on even more, but I think I've come to terms with that episode, and I'm ready to move on with my life.
Absolutely. That's the episode. One of the tricks could have been real. All the other ones are clearly fake.
Yeah.
But it is wildly entertaining to go back and watch these.
Oh yeah.
It's
You didn't watch this really growing up, right?
No, you did.
I was a fan, or as the cool kids say, I was a stan of Criss Angel's show. During its time, it was cool, but even me as a kid, over time, you'll see if you continue to watch the episodes throughout most of the series, probably it's continually just as staged, and maybe worse in some moments, to a point where even a kid like me watching it back in 2007, 2008, maybe or maybe back in 2005 or 6, whatever. I was young enough where I could have been fooled, and I was fooled by some things. And my imagination allowed me to believe that some of it could have happened. But it gets to a point later on, and I hope we can discuss some of that in the future. There's just some things that he's done that is so bad that even a kid would be like, that's fake.
Yes, and I can't wait to get some of that stuff. This one was a relatively boring episode, I would say, but some of them are going to get truly wild with the stuff that he comes up with.
To kind of wrap up the talk about that episode with a bow, the episode is dedicated to his deceased father, John Sarantikos. And one last thing, Lucas, that I'm guessing you probably did not catch, but it's probably going to be more intriguing for me and you than the listeners, so I apologize for that. But in the credits, I did see that Luke Germain was on his team.
Oh, really?
Yeah, even though he was never shown.
No way.
Luke Germain, for those of you listening, he is one of the top mentalists in the entertainment game, and he's contributed a lot to. I think he's done a lot of contributing stuff to different TV shows and stuff like that. But very highly respected performer and creator. But I was surprised to see his name on there.
Good catch. Yeah, there's going to be some surprising names for sure. I won't spoil any more, but I already know of a couple. That'll be pretty funny to see.
Yeah, I'm ready to be. I mean, Criss, he's full of surprises. I will say that.
Yes. All right. Are we ready to move on to the last segment, our trivia here, before we wrap up?
Oh, I don't know if I'm ready. I feel a little nervous about this because to remind everybody about what's at stake. At the end of the 10 episodes that we'll be doing the trivia, whoever has the most amount of points gets to pick or create an effect and script it to be whatever they want, and then the loser has to perform it and upload it for everybody to see. And of course, we're going to promote it a lot.
Yes, absolutely.
And I'm just nervous, Lucas, because I don't want to lose, because I know you have a crazy mind, and I know you would love to, okay, so here's the thing. I've agreed to do so much stupid stuff with you. What are you going to do that I wouldn't, what are you going to, because when you have the power to do something that I wouldn't normally say yes to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have the ability to tap into some crazy areas. So I'm really going to try to hold it down. And
yeah, you gotta try. I didn't go too hard on you with these, but
okay, we'll see. We'll see about that.
We'll see. We got 5 questions here. Each week, the trivia will be themed differently. But a lot of times it's going to kind of relate to what we're talking about. So this week is going to be Criss Angel.
I love it.
So I have some Criss Angel facts. They're not super specific. A lot of these I just got on Wikipedia and some of the resources at the bottom of Wikipedia that you find, some old articles and stuff.
Yeah.
But they're 5 questions, multiple choice, 2 points a question. You ready?
Are we do we have we're going to cue the music in post.
Cue the music.
It's time for some trivia.
All right.
Trivia music. Here we go.
I feel
it's time for trivia.
I feel it. Okay.
Here we go. All right. Which one do I want to start with? I don't know if I want to go in order. Okay. I'm going to start with this. Which pop star did Criss Angel perform alongside to open the 2007 MTV Video Music Awards? Is it A, Madonna, B, Britney Spears, C, Paris Hilton, or D, Lady Gaga?
Okay, so right off the bat, I'm going to eliminate Paris Hilton.
Okay.
Madonna and Britney, I think one of those two could be it. And then what was the other one?
Lady Gaga.
I'm going to say that that was a little bit early for her. I don't really see them matching up as I don't see them really collaborating. I feel like I would probably know about that if that was the case. So Britney Spears and Madonna. I'm going to say it's definitely one of these two. Britney Spears or Madonna. Britney Spears. Madonna is a superstar. Britney Spears, I don't think back then she was performing in Vegas, but she did end up performing in Vegas eventually, which makes me think that she might have some friends in that area, even though this was before that. I'm going to lock in Britney Spears.
It is Britney Spears.
Woo!
Wow. Very well done.
Thank you.
That makes me nervous.
Good.
Yeah, 2007 MTV Video Music Awards. He performed alongside Britney Spears.
Brilliant.
Yes.
So that's 2 points for
All right,
me.
moving on.
2 points for
That's 2 points.
Gryffindor.
2 points on the board.
Ooh.
Question number 2.
All right.
Which of these celebrities appeared on an episode of Mindfreak?
Okay.
You might have an advantage having watched these
Maybe.
when you were younger.
Maybe.
Is it A, Dog the Bounty Hunter, B, Ozzy Osbourne, C, Hulk Hogan, or D, Joey Fatone?
Okay, so name the first one. What was the first one again?
A was Dog the Bounty
Okay.
Hunter.
As much as I'd love for it to be Dog, I'd love for that story arc to happen, because I feel like Dog would be a crazy illusionist. He would just make handcuffs appear.
You'd be an escape artist.
I'm gonna say it's not Dog, and I'm gonna say it's not Joey Fatone. So that leaves us with Ozzy, and what was the other one?
Hulk Hogan.
Hulk Hogan. See, I feel equally. I feel like both of these celebrities could equally have a chance to have worked with Criss. In fact, maybe both of them. Maybe they did. Maybe I'll get it right no matter which one I pick. Is that correct, or is it?
I can't tell you anything.
Okay, I'm trying to haggle with you here. Use my mentalist abilities to narrow this down.
Yeah, going fishing, I see.
Yeah, I like fishing. So we have Ozzy Osbourne and Hulk Hogan. I keep forgetting about Hulk Hogan. I'm gonna say Ozzy. I'm gonna lock in Ozzy.
Criss Angel has worked with Ozzy.
Woo!
But Ozzy has not been on Mindfreak.
No!
The correct answer is A, Dog the Bounty Hunter.
Wait. No. What?
Yes.
Oh, I hope we get the chance to talk about whatever this episode is, because...
Well, very briefly, I don't know what episode it is, but I saw a YouTube clip of it.
Yeah.
And I did look at the other names I put to make sure they haven't been on Mindfreak, because I put a couple in there. Like I put Gene Simmons in there, but he's been on there, and like trying to think of names that are similar.
Yeah, but definitely no Gene's been on there.
But Hulk has been on, or excuse me, not Hulk. Dog, the Bounty Hunter, has been on an episode. It was an escape that he presented for Criss. We'll get to that episode at some point. But Criss did open for Ozzy once and bit the head off of a bat. Like Ozzy.
Really?
Yes.
That's
but
disgusting.
Ozzy has not been on Mindfreak.
Okay.
So.
Wow, Dog. I really wanted Dog to be it. So I guess I'm glad in the end. I'm glad that I was wrong.
It is Dog.
All
right. Go ahead. Are you ready for the next 30?
I'm just caught up in the fact that Dog was on an episode, and him and Hulk Hogan are almost like alternate universe same people.
Yeah, they kind of are.
But I'll let you do question number 3. So I'm 2 points for out of 4 possible so far. I'm 2 points.
Yep. All right. Question number 3.
All right.
Which of these television shows has Criss Angel not made an appearance on?
Okay.
Which one has he not been on?
Okay.
A, the 2007 AVN Award Show.
Okay.
B, WWE Raw.
Okay.
C, Hell's Kitchen.
Okay.
Or D, Project Runway.
Okay, so AVN, that's like a porn expo, isn't it?
That is the porn expo.
That one I could totally see him being a part of. Knowing how much he likes to show off his body excessively. I think we'll find that that's a common theme in future episodes. Hey.
Yes.
Hey, I don't blame him, but at the same time, it just it's distracting, In a good or a bad way, I don't know. I'll let the viewer decide that, but so I'm going to say so I'm picking out the one that he hasn't been in, right?
Correct.
So the first one, he's been there. I'd be surprised if I'm wrong there, okay? You said WWE Raw.
Mm-hmm.
I could see that. I could definitely see that. Especially if he, well, I guess you didn't say that he worked with Hulk Hogan. But that was with Mindfreak. So so I'm deducing this now. I'm guessing that in the previous question, he probably worked in some way with most of those people. So he probably did. Maybe he was on WWE Raw with Hulk Hogan, because the question was about being on Mindfreak. So I'm thinking that he was on WWE Raw, and the Project Runway, and what else is left?
Hell's Kitchen is the other one.
Hell's Kitchen has a Vegas location. I don't know if that was before or after Criss, but I'll be surprised if it's Project Runway, so I'm going to go with Project Runway. I feel like that's a safe guess.
That is correct.
Boom.
He has not been on Project Runway.
All right, we are 4 for 6.
Good deductions there. I have no evidence of him working with Hulk Hogan, but that played in your favor.
Well, hey, I would
take it, right?
Yeah.
All right. Question 4.
Okay.
Which of these is an actual stunt that Criss Angel performed on Mindfreak?
This is going to be hilarious. Okay. So
is it A?
So one of them is a real stunt, and 3 of them are
One of these is real. 3 of them are not.
Okay, I'm super interested. I'm interested in what you've put. Okay.
Which of these is an actual stunt?
Okay.
A, escaping a straitjacket and chains in a helicopter before it runs into a mountain. B, escaping a mailbag in a caged truck rigged with explosive before it runs off a cliff.
Okay.
C, escaping from a suspended wooden shipping container that has been set on fire before the container explodes.
Okay.
Or D, escaping from a milk tank before it is dropped into a vat of liquid cement.
Okay, so I'm going to say the cement one probably didn't happen. What was the first one? The first one sounded a little bit too much of a high production cost.
The first one was escaping from a helicopter before it crashes.
I think he's definitely done some stuff with helicopters, but in terms of crashing a helicopter, I don't think so. And I don't think that they would pay the money I think that's a little bit, maybe later on when they had money in the show, when the show became, after a season or two, when they had a better budget. So I'm gonna say no for now on that one. So what were the middle two?
Escaping a mailbag in a caged truck rigged with explosives before it runs off a cliff.
Yeah.
Or escaping from a suspended wooden shipping container that has been set on fire before the container explodes.
See, I could visualize both of these things happening. But I feel like I mean the mailbag escape is a real thing that escape artists do. But I don't recall any type of like vehicle driving off of a cliff stunt. So I'm going to go with the shipping container stunt, but it's definitely one of those two.
It is one of these two.
Oh no, I'm wrong. I'm wrong.
It is the mailbag
No,
in the caged truck. Which, let me tell you, when I was looking up the stunts that he's done, I found a page that listed them all from each episode. This one is nowhere near the most ridiculous. And it's still way out there. I mean, there were some in there that were so ridiculous, I couldn't even think of made up ones to put around them.
Oh, like he's like a lot of what he's done sounds made up.
It's just so stupid that like what else could I come up with that would even fit in the ballpark here? But this one was, escaping a mailbag in a caged truck rigged with explosives before it runs off a cliff. I mean, what the fuck are we doing?
Yeah.
That's a stunt.
I definitely knew that the milk tank, even though that is a real escape,
it is.
That's not his style.
No,
the helicopter,
it's not.
I could see him doing that. I could see him doing a helicopter,
and he has his own helicopter, so I thought you might bite a little bit there.
I was close, but I decided that the middle two were more likely, and I went with the shipping container, but I guess the shipping container was a little too simple. No, it wasn't enough flair.
That one was the most believable. That one is the most believable.
Yeah, that's probably why I went with it.
Yes.
I just even though I almost bit on I almost got the right one, but oh wow. So I got half of no.
You got half. You're 2
Oh,
for 4
there's
right
one
now,
more left.
right?
Yeah.
There's one more question. Yep. All right.
Wait, am I 2 for
Final
4?
question. Yes.
Okay.
You got Project Runway and Britney Spears.
Right, I got 2 wrong. Okay,
Yeah, 2 wrong.
okay, right.
So you got 4 points.
I got 4 points. I'm just trying to these points mean a lot. I'm trying to make sure
Don't worry about the points.
I'm worrying about okay, give me some more then. Give me 10 points.
I'll give you the chance at 2 more. Okay. Last question. Which of these moments actually happened in a Criss Angel live show?
Oh boy, okay. A live show meaning his Vegas show.
Correct.
Okay.
Did he A, lob obscene insults at a blogger in the audience? Did he B, have a trick go wrong and single out a crew member?
Oh no.
Did he C, accidentally burn an audience member's hand during a trick?
Okay.
Did he D, insult another magician who was unknowingly in the audience?
Okay. I could definitely see the last one happening. In terms of the hand burning, maybe the voodoo trick is real. I'm gonna say that probably.
Did you feel that?
Did you feel it? Maybe you shouldn't be burning people. You know, I'm gonna cancel that one out. I could see the last one, him calling out a magician that he doesn't know is there. I could see that being a thing. What was the first two again?
The first two were lob obscene insults at a blogger in the audience and have a trick go wrong and single out a crew member.
Okay, so after hearing those two, I'm gonna say the last one is probably. I think you're trying to get me with the believability of it, the real like how like it's pretty normal. Like it's not. It seems to me like you're trying to get me to bite on the last one. I'm gonna say that it's either him lobbing obscene insults at the blogger, or the I already forgot what it was.
Having a trick go wrong and singling out a crew member.
Having a trick go wrong and singling out a crew member. I'd like to, I could see him because everything, he's very egocentric. So if something went wrong, he wouldn't want to take, it's a weird spot to be in, but I could see him acting in a way like that to kind of keep his ego up. That or lobbing insults at a blogger. But why would he do that during a show? I don't know. I feel like I'm missing context there, but that could be a thing. In grade school when you're doing a standardized test or something, and you question, you second guess yourself, but then it a lot of the time your gut feeling is right. I'm not trying to pry here, but you're not answering because you're worried that you're going to give me anything.
Not going to answer.
I'm not trying to double cross you like that. What screams to me as something that Criss would do? Yell at a blogger. Because he's so well known, he definitely has had people talk bad against him and his show and his Vegas show for sure. Because people used to meme on him. People used to meme on his stage show a lot. But from what I've heard recently, he's actually got he's got a very good show. Was it a blogger? I'm sorry I'm taking too much time. We probably should have put a time limit on this. Because now I'm just secretly accessing the internet to.
You have 10 seconds.
Okay, I'm kidding. Lucas can actually see me right now. He can see that I'm not accessing the internet, but I guess for people at home, you probably don't know that. So I'm gonna go with calling out a member of his crew for a trick going wrong, locking it in.
Da, da, da.
All right.
It is lobbing obscene insults at a blogger in the audience. I thought for sure you were going with that. I was getting nervous.
I almost did. I really almost did, but
it sounded like you were going to do it. Yeah, and I have a couple notes on that.
Oh, okay.
Because this was a fun one.
Yeah, I want to hear the context around that.
So here's the context. In April 2009, Criss Angel ended a performance of Believe by hurling obscene insults at blogger Perez Hilton, an audience member.
Perez Hilton.
Hilton reportedly had texted to his fans, he actually tweeted, during the performance that the show was unbelievably bad and that he'd rather be getting a root canal.
That's
word had gotten back to Criss before the show ended. And that's when he hurled out some insults at the end of the show. Cirque du Soleil later apologized to Hilton for Criss's remarks. And I did do some digging and found what he said.
Oh, no.
This is what Criss said at the end of his show.
What'd he say?
I have to recognize someone special here in the house.
Oh, no.
Perez Hilton, please stand up.
Oh, no.
We have the world's biggest douchebag asshole in the house.
Was that it?
To which, yes.
What?
To which Perez responded, "Thanks for the free tickets." So yeah, there you have it.
Oh, I'm mad. I feel like on that one and on one of the other ones that I got wrong, I wanted to go and I was just talking about you should go with your gut, but I went against it because I was overthinking it. I should have went quicker,
Yeah.
but instead, well, that's 4 points for me, right? Out of
4 of 10
possible
so far. Not, hey, you know what? We really don't know how this is going to go yet. So you got points on the board. You got 4 more than I do right now. So.
Well, I mean, that's I don't think you. That's not even. I'm mad that you said that. Because next week you're gonna have your equal chance to put points on the board, and then you could say something like that. When you get 0, then you can be like, well, you got 4, and I'll be like,
look,
yeah.
I'm just saying we don't know how it's gonna go. I could get 0.
Maybe I'll just make your trivia a little bit more difficult. Who knows?
Well, think about if you're gonna do that, yours certainly isn't gonna get easier.
Pretty soon we're just talking about these crazy subjects that we don't know anything about.
These 4 points are probably the only ones to be awarded. It's probably an advantage that you went first.
Really, I'm gonna make questions that no matter what you pick, it's not gonna be the right answer because the right answer it just changes depending on what you pick.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
Well, I'll give myself a pat on the back for getting 4 points out of a possible 10.
You really reasoned through them well, even the ones you didn't get.
I was so on at least 2 of them. I was down with. I can get it within two. Within 2.
You narrowed them down well. Yeah. Yes.
Well, unfortunately, that
for sure.
That do you want to give me some bonus points for my reasoning?
No.
All right, then don't compliment me. Okay, you know what? I don't want to add that negative tone. Let me take a step back.
Trying to be a nice guy.
Let me take my two-facedness back a little bit and say I appreciate that, and I I hope you do well too. But maybe.
Thank you.
And so now I'm just trying to sweet talk you that way. If you do win, you go a little easier on me. It's that, it's that psychological playground that we're in, baby. It's a psychological playground.
What the fuck?
I really have nothing else to say to you.
Okay. Yeah, I don't either. So I think we can wrap it at that.
All right. Thank you guys for listening to
Thanks for listening.
The inaugural Flaming Melon podcast.
Yeah, thank you for listening. We have been the Watermelon Boys, and we will see you on the next pod.
Are you ready?
Do you feel that? Could you feel that?